D from the bag, 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 D.
Welcome back, you guys, to a place where creativity, purpose, and truth comes together. I'm your host, Dee from the Bay. Today's guest is someone whose music feels like sunlight breaking through the
Oh,
clouds. Yes. Leaf herself
hallelujah.
is here. She creates beautiful music that uplifts, soothes, and heals. Her sound is more than melody, it's medicine for the spirit. She wears many hats. She's an artist, a songwriter, a performer, and a healer. And I'm going to give her the floor now to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her. Lee,
Wow.
welcome.
That's a really nice intro. The sun breaking through the clouds. That's nice. I mean, about me, I'll say that I'll start with that I come from a creative family. I come from artists. My mother is a singer-songwriter. Um, she's a creative artist. In her youth, she had a record deal with A&M Records. After being a starlet on TV, she was the very first African American female teenager to have a recurring starring role on television. And she was always musical. And she performed with many of the jazz greats of her time. And then my father was also creative in film, in documentaries, in art, visual art. He has many documentaries with just amazing people, Angela Davis, civil rights activists and Black Panthers during the time. So I kind of tell people that I kind of come from history, Christian hippies,
Yes, yes.
very free spirited, creative people that kind of, that's the kind of household that we grew up in. I have four brothers. So a lot of us are in the creative fields, or if we're not doing that as like a career, that we do that on the side, like painting when my brother paints, but he's also a psychiatrist. So he went to med school. And then I have two brothers that work in media. One is a podcaster, and the other one has been doing production in the field, TV, film, music videos for years. So I just come from a creative place. So I just grew up writing songs and performing with my mom at church. And I also played sports, in high school, but I would bring my guitar to school in high school and play my music. Like, chick right here, right? I played basketball in college at Arizona State in Syracuse, but I would bring my guitar on the bus and I would play at our banquets. So it was like always there, and then I think at 17 I recorded like an album, it's called 17. So back then I really didn't have a lot of recording devices. I had a tape recorder and things like that, and I would record my songs on the tape recorder. But I would memorize my songs as well too. So I had memorized like maybe 10 or 12 songs or something like that. And my parents found like a person in our city that had like a studio, and I recorded like on ADAT, like on tape,
I
you know,
remember that.
so that was my first recording, me and my guitar. And I had met some jazz musicians in LA because we would at this time we're living in Paris, California, and we would travel to LA and back because my mom's father had a house in LA, and we would go there sometimes. And then I also would play ball in LA too. So I met these musicians at this church, guitarist and I forgot what the instrument was, but it's like a Asian violin. I was like, oh, I'm
Uh-huh.
recording this album. Can you guys come? And they drove all the way from LA to Paris, which was about an hour. And
Yes.
they performed on the album. So that was my first recording. But I couldn't use my name at the time because I played sports, right? So at this time I'm in college and I'm going to release it in college, but I had to put it under a pseudonym because at that time athletes couldn't use their name to make money like they can do now. So,
Okay.
so kudos to the athletes in this age that can use their name
Right.
for the brand, but we couldn't do that at that time. So I had to use Matawi Reigns. And I was looking for another word that means leaf. So
Mm.
I had some friends on the track team at Syracuse. I think he was Sudanese. And I was like, hey, how do you say leaf in your language? And he said Matawi. And I was like, ooh, I like that. So I put Matawi Reigns on there. And I just like the name Rain, Reign.
Right.
I just like that name. And I just released it on CD Baby. So that was like my first goal. I didn't really do anything with it. It was just there, because I played sports and I was busy with school and athletics and things like that. But my last year in college, I was trying to decide whether I was going to do professional sports overseas or if I was going to pursue, really what my real passion was is music. And I was
Right.
talking to my coach, Coach Freeman at the time at Syracuse, and she was like, "Hey, well, if Russell Simmons is going to be on campus, you should go to his talk and you should play for him." My coach, right? I was like,
Right.
"Okay, okay, go and do that." So I show up early and I have my guitar and I'm sitting in the front and Russell Simmons comes out and he says, before I start, does anybody have any questions? And I raised my hand and I was like, can I play a song for you? He said, come on up, man. He pulled out a chair. He got me a bottle of water. You know, I sang. He held the mic for me while I sang, and there were a lot of people there in the crowd that knew who I was because a lot of people knew who
Right.
the athletes were, and some of the other athletes and football players and people were there too. And I sang, and I had my little demo package, and I gave it to him, and it ended up in the newspaper.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing happened with that, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna decide to do this is what I really want to do because I feel like I spent some time kind of like being unsure. Being
Really?
unsure. Yeah, my parents were creatives and singers, and we had a piano in the house. And my mom would be playing the piano. My auntie would be playing the piano. One summer, I visited my grandmother, and she was giving me piano lessons. So it was there. But I was kind of like unsure because I really wanted to major in music.
Okay.
But I just got the idea that that's not what you major in college. You're not going to make any money with a music degree, things like that. But funny is like, even that I didn't major in music itself, like what I'm doing now and what I
Exactly.
have been doing, it's kind of come full circle. And I'm not necessarily studying music theory or music performance, but what I'm doing now is what's under the umbrella of media effects. And my
Right.
dissertation is about how music can counteract negative effects of stereotypes among African American women, and
Right.
what does that music look like? What do those lyrics look like? What do those portrayals in the songs of Black women and Black people look like in the music? So, anyways, I'm back.
Right.
I was always going
Okay.
to do it some kind of way.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it was going to happen some kind of way. It just didn't happen how I guess I thought it was going to happen.
Uh-huh.
You know,
So, being that your music is described as like medicine, when you're creating consciously, are you thinking about a healing energy or does it just come naturally?
no, no, no. I would say so my second official full-on project that you have called Flowers and Grass,
Uh-huh.
Um, of course, I'm not knowing this until people are telling me,
Oh, wow.
oh, your music is healing. And I'm like, really? Oh, you're a healer. And I'm discovering, how people are responding. It's not me like intentionally thinking I'm going to make this powerfully healing music and it's going to be positive. I'm just doing me. I have always created music as an outlet.
Right.
For this is what is inside of me and is coming out.
Right.
Also, too, how I'm responding to my experiences in the world too. For example, the song "Good Brother" on
Uh-huh.
Flowers and Grass. Now, this is way before I went back to school and started learning about media effects and portrayals of Black people in media. But I was a server at the time, and I would come home from work every day, turn on the news, and every day I would see some story about a black male criminal.
Mm.
Every night, every night, every night for this whole week. It was like
Right.
my eyes was open to that, right? Unbeknownst to all of us, this is what media does constantly, right?
Right.
Framing Black men as criminals, as dangerous, as something to be feared, right? And it's a strategy, right?
Right.
So I'm going about life. I don't, not seeing this until one week. It's like my eyes are open to this. And I was like, this is not true. This can't be true. Why am I seeing all these Black men on the news um, as criminals, yada, yada, yada? I was like, that's not, I have a father. I have four
Right.
brothers. I have
Right.
cousins. I don't know nobody. Not that these criminals or these things, these situations don't exist, but what they
Right.
are doing is overrepresenting Black
Over.
people
Yep.
in this way, you
Yep.
know? And so I was kind of like, saw that in the way that I understood it, right? Not academically or in that way, but I was like, wow, that's not true. I got to write a song about the beautifulness of Black men. I got to write a
Yeah.
song. I got to tell the world that Black men are great. They're
Yeah.
protectors. They're teachers. They out here working hard. They're taking care of their families. The fathers
Yeah.
are present in the home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I see you, my
Yes.
brother.
Yes.
I see you. And I have
Yeah.
four of them, and I had a father just like that, and yada, yada, yada. This is the story that I wanted to tell in that
Right.
song. So, that was intentional because of what I was experiencing during that
Right.
time.
Right. Right.
The thing is, criminal activity happens in every community, right? Right? There's
Yeah.
criminal activity in every community. This is where the music comes from. And then, um, Jasmine Lynn on that album, that was a
Oh,
hard song for me to
yes.
write because that song is actually about a student at Clark Atlanta that was hit by a stray bullet on campus. And Welcome to Dreamland on BET. It was like a reality
Okay.
TV show of singers, young ladies. So I won that, and I was kind of like, didn't have nothing to do because after the show, it was like the show, they promised you a record deal and all these things. And I was waiting for that, but none of those things happened. And I stopped working at, the restaurant as a server because I'd be serving people and they would be like, aren't you Leaf from yada yada yada? Why are you working here? It was like it was embarrassing for me, honestly. It was embarrassing and I didn't want to have to answer the questions because I didn't really have the answers. So I kind of stopped that and I was just focusing on performing, and I
Oh,
would get gigs and things like that here and there. So I was kind of had some time on my hand. So that kept me busy. I put together that fundraiser. And honestly, we didn't really raise any money, you
wow.
know, and I did lose contact with the mom because I think about that sometimes. But I guess maybe the good thing that came from it is that it raised awareness,
Okay.
of the event of what happened to her, and hopefully it did something positive. I was just trying to do something positive,
Right.
during that time with, I guess, the platform that I had at the time, because Drummer Boy was there and he was from the show, and Arrested Development, who have been friends of mine for a while, um, they were there as well too. So yeah,
Wow. I think just you shedding light on that situation was a healer process right there. Even though
yeah,
they have lost contact with the mom, but just doing something like that, that's a part of healing too. And so it was
yeah.
like you were the purpose then. You fulfilled your purpose at that time, and you probably healed her from there, you know? So that's a
I think
healing.
it did some good, you know.
heal-
I guess come back to this word healing. I just feel like, like I was saying, like the music for me is just healing for me. It's an outlet for me. It's a way for me to like express the experiences that I'm having, and it's like a release. And and I guess others receive it that way as well. They can relate to that.
Right, right. And it's just crazy because you never know who you're helping. You never know who is listening and what that person is going through during that time.
Mm-hmm.
But if the majority of it is saying, "Oh my God, you've it's a healing song. Oh my God, I feel so much better after I listen to your song." Because sometimes it can take something to get you out of that darkness that a person may be going through, and your
Yeah,
creativity is coming out as a healing way to heal people's souls or to prevent them from doing something that they don't need to do or making them feel better and not thinking about the pain that they're going through.
yeah,
So that's the thing for people to say that your song is healing. It's like God is giving it to you. You're being used through.
yeah.
You shared the stage with legends like Common, So Williams. Tell us about that NAACP experience. Nominated for
Yeah,
Girl.
so at this point, I've graduated from Syracuse, and I decide, hey, I'm gonna go back to LA, which is where we're living now. Again, we went back to LA to take care of my mother's parents. Um, so we're there in LA, and I'm just going to all the open mic spots and meeting the underground musicians, and going to um, midnight records, the record stores, and things like that. I'm meeting the people that are there, and doing my thing. And so there was this open mic that I used to go to every week. It was one of the Magic Johnson Starbucks near the airport. And I would go there every week, and I would practice my songs I write, and I would sing. And this one particular night, there was casting from girlfriends there. Mom happened to be with me that night, and she said, "You should put your name on that list." She put her name on that list as well. So I was like, all right. They called maybe like the next day or something like that. They were actually calling for my mom. And I was like, oh, she's not here right now. I said, but I also put my name on the list. And they were like, well, come down to the audition. So I stole this role from my mom. I went down to the audition. Unbeknownst to me, they had already decided that I had the part, and they were auditioning me with different poets. I don't know if you saw the show, the episode, but it's Girlfriend season 3, episode 6 or something like that. And I'm on stage, I'm singing and playing with a poet next to me. So they were auditioning me with other poets. And then when they finally found a poet they liked, they were like, well, you got the part right. And I was like, oh, okay. Anyways, that's the episode that Common was on. And so, yeah, I got to meet Common. He was real cool. I hung out. And that was maybe like the second time I met him, because actually Sam introduced me to Common um, during that time, sometime before, right? So he took me to Common's show. It was Common and Roots. And
Okay.
he took me to the show, and he took me to Common's trailer, and Common was listening to my music. So I had met Common before. So, yeah, so Common was on the show, and it was cool. And I did the show, and, and then I moved to Atlanta after that.
Did you at one time want to be signed to a label, or did you just want to remain as an independent artist? Okay. Okay.
There were multiple times, actually. So, actually, one of those times I think was maybe heartbreaking. Um, but Sam, my very first manager, your cousin, and Dave, they were managing me, right?
Shout out,
and they,
down there.
yes, they had arranged for um I can't remember the label name right now, but I probably remember the act. But they had arranged for a record deal for me, right? Because I had been performing, and the label had come out to the shop and seen me perform there. Yada yada yada. They didn't tell me this, right? Same time my father passed away. I'm glad I'm having this opportunity to share this.
Yes.
Um, so they presented me with a management contract because we were just doing it just on GP, right? There was no
Right.
written. I considered them their my manager. They considered me their artist, but we hadn't put it down on paper yet. And my father had just passed, and we sat down, and they gave me this contract, and I was like, "Hey guys, can we talk about the contract? Can you explain it to me? What's going on in the contract? Because I didn't want to sign anything that I really didn't know what I was signing." Because also at Syracuse University, I minored in music industry, so I did take some contract classes, and I was aware of some things. Because I was like, I would like us to just go through the contract, and can we just talk about it so that we're all on the same page and I know exactly what I'm signing.
Right.
And so I'm sure they didn't mean this, but their response to me was, it's a standard contract and just sign it. And so I didn't sign it. I didn't sign it. And so after that, they told me, well, the label was waiting for me to sign the contract with them for them to move forward with me, so that because it wasn't official with us yet. So I found it out later. Um, so miscommunication, I guess. I guess that was kind of heartbreaking for me to find that out, and I guess for them as well, because after that we didn't work together anymore. And I really loved them to this
Uh-huh.
day. They're the favorite people that I have worked with in the industry. I loved Sam and Dave, and I know they loved me, and they put a lot of they've invested in me, time, and probably some money too. I think they sent me places to perform as well too. So they believed in me, but that contract thing, so that didn't happen, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And that was the time Corinne Bailey Rae came out, and India.Arie was
Oh,
very popular at that time and things like that. And they were like, that could have been you, Leaf. But yeah, but you know, now we hear about people signing contracts, not knowing what is in it, and all kind of things happening. So, in a way, it was like, I know they didn't mean any harm by it, but you know, but
well,
I think why those things happened, because it was just to encourage me. Yes, Leaf, you are supposed to be doing music. Yes, Leaf,
right.
you are this talented. Yes, Leaf, this gift is in you. Because sure, at times I was not. Am I? Are my songs that good? Am I a good artist? Am I great? So we have those times where we're questioning ourselves, and I think it was just
Right.
to say, yes, you are. Other people can see it. You are. Just believe in yourself. Just keep believing in yourself. Know that the greatness is in you, but this is not the route that I have for you. And I'm grateful too, because I had some interesting experiences.
Where can people find you at to hear this healing and soothing
Oh,
music?
yeah. So I'm on Instagram. Leaf Hallelujah, and this is how you spell leaf. Leaf, just like a leaf on a tree. You spell hallelujah, HALELUJIAH, Leaf Hallelujah. That's my Instagram, that's my YouTube. That's all I have right now. Like I said, I had to kind of start over with my pages, so that's where you can find me. You can find my music on Spotify, Leaf Newman, which was my previous name, Newman. So yeah, if you just put that in Google, you'll find the places where you can listen to my music and get my merch. There's nowhere to go from
Ah,
here. It's my T-shirt now.
well, you guys, you said it all. And we thank her for coming out, spending some time with us, chit chatting, telling us a little bit about her background. And we're going to support her and follow her, check her music out, support her in the merch. And that's about it, you guys, today. Yes.
Thank
Thank
you so much. Thank you
you.
for having me. I enjoyed this conversation with you.